Traveling to Norway? Fantastisk! If you could only learn 10 Norwegian travel phrases, what would they be? Stick around because that's what I'll be sharing with you today. Which 10 Norwegian travel phrases you should learn that would be the most useful? Well, when you only have a limited amount of time before your trip to Norway and you want to learn some basic Norwegian phrases, it can be hard to know where to begin. So here are my top 10 essential Norwegian travel phrases that you need to know before your trip, plus how to use them. The best part is that you can use these Norwegian phrases over and over again and in almost every travel situation you find yourself in. Oh, and PS, at the end, make sure that you stick around because I have a special announcement to make. So let's get started. La oss begynne. The first Norwegian phrase is hi or hallo, and both of these obviously mean hello. Now it might seem obvious, but it's important to learn to be able to greet people because you'll be doing this everywhere you go and multiple times throughout the day. So while I could have taught you how to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, those can be only used at a certain time of the day, whereas hi and hallo can be used at any time. Now, Norwegian doesn't have a formal or an informal tense like many other languages do, so you're safe to use these greetings with strangers as well as with people that you know. You can make your greeting a little bit more colloquial by doubling the hi, so you can say something like hi, which I personally really like. So let's hear a native say these two phrases again.
Hei. Hei. Hallo. Hallo.
The second Norwegian phrase is Hada. Now this means goodbye, but it literally means have it. Now you might be thinking, have what exactly? And that's an excellent question. I thought the same thing when I started learning Norwegian. But Hada is like a shortened version of saying ha det bra, which means have it good. So that's the full way to say goodbye. Now this means that you want everything to go well for the other person that you're saying it to. So let's hear a native Norwegian say this phrase again.
Ha det. Ha det. Ha det bra. Ha det bra.
The third essential Norwegian phrase for travelers is takk, which means thank you. Now, if you're very grateful, you can even say Tusen takk, which means thank you very much. And Tusen actually means 1,000, so you're essentially saying 1,000 thanks. Norwegians are masters at saying thank you, and they have all sorts of different and wonderful idiomatic expressions that they use when they thank someone. For example, after having a meal, it's customary to say takk for maten, which literally means thanks for the food or thanks for the meal. Another expression they use is takk for sist, which is a lovely way to greet someone and to thank the person for the last time that you saw each other. So depending on the context, you might hear one of two replies when you say takk. So the first one is bare hyggelig, which is a bit like saying my pleasure. And the other one is vær så god, which is used when you provide someone with something or when they thank you. So let's hear a native Norwegian say these phrases again.
Takk. Takk. Tusen takk. Tusen takk. Takk for maten. Takk for maten. Takk for sist. Takk for sist. Vær så god. Vær så god. Bare hyggelig. Bare hyggelig.
The fourth essential Norwegian phrase for travelers is ja and nei, which means yes and no respectively. And ja and nei is great for binary yes-no situations, and if you put a takk at the end, you've created a sentence. You can say ja takk or nei takk if you're answering a question. So it's a nice way to be polite. So let's hear a Norwegian say these phrases again.
Ja. Ja. Nei. Nei.
The fifth essential Norwegian phrase to learn is Unnskyld meg, or you can just say Unnskyld, both of which mean excuse me and is used for getting attention. Now, if you didn't hear someone and you want them to repeat themselves, Norwegians will say ha, so it's like an open ah. Now, this literally translates to ha or what, and it might sound rude at first, but this is perfectly normal and not rude at all in Norwegian. But if saying ha gives you anxiety after all those years of your parents drilling into you, don't say what, say pardon. You can try a softer version, so you can say hva sa du, so what did you say? Or you can try kan du gjenta, can you repeat that? And for extra points, but this isn't necessary, you can add either the phrases that we learned earlier. So you can say unnskyld or unnskyld meg and join it together. So you can say unnskyld, hva sa du? So excuse me, what did you say? Or unnskyld, kan du gjenta? Excuse me, can you repeat that? Now all this is very polite by Norwegian standards and it is not necessary at all. So let's hear a Norwegian say these phrases again.
Unnskyld meg. Unnskyld meg. Hæ? Hæ? Hva sa du? Hva sa du? Kan du gjenta? Kan du gjenta?
The sixth essential Norwegian phrase for travelers to learn is Hvor koster det, which literally means how much does it cost? So Costa sounds just like the English word cost. So Hvor koster det. Now this is a great phrase to use when you're buying tickets, you're going shopping, especially if you're in a market where you can get a bargain or ask for a discount. So let's hear a Norwegian say this phrase again.
Hvor koster det? Hvor koster det?
The seventh essential Norwegian phrase to learn is Hvordan kommer jeg meg til, which means how do I get to? Now, if you're in need of directions, this phrase is great to use when you want to ask someone that you're passing on the street. You can say unnskyld meg, so excuse me, hvordan kommer jeg meg til? And then you can use a tourist map from your accommodation perhaps and point to where you want to go. Now, while you may not understand all the directions that you receive, the person can at least point you in the right direction. And then if along the way you need more help, you can stop another person and say unnskyld meg, hvordan kommer jeg meg til? Now, if you want to avoid asking for directions altogether, then I recommend downloading Google Maps ahead of time, and you can download the exact place that you're actually visiting, so it works offline and even without Wi-Fi. But naturally, if you're from within the European Union, you'll be able to use roaming for free, and then you'll be able to access the maps anyway. But if not, this is a handy travel tip anyway. So let's hear a native Norwegian say this phrase again.
Hvordan kommer jeg meg til? Hvordan kommer jeg meg til?
Now see if you can guess the next one. The eighth essential Norwegian phrase for travelers is Hvor toalettet? Have you guessed it? Well, if you guessed where is the toilet, then you'd be correct. This is probably the most important one that you'll need to remember. When Mother Nature calls, you don't want to be relying on miming to communicate what you're looking for. And luckily the word for toilet in Norwegian is very similar to English. So let's hear a native Norwegian say this phrase again.
Hvor toalettet? Hvor toalettet?
The ninth essential Norwegian phrase to learn is Jeg vil gjerne ha, which means I would like to have. And if you drop the ha at the end, it just means I would like. So jeg vil gjerne. Now this is perhaps the most versatile phrase that you can learn, as you can say jeg vil gjerne ha and then point to something like a Norwegian waffle perhaps, and you can just follow it up by saying takk, so which basically means please or thank you in this context. You can say jeg vil gjerne ha and then point to a menu item, or jeg vil gjerne ha and then hold up two fingers if you're purchasing 2 museum tickets. It's broken Norwegian, but it shows that you're making an effort and that will always be appreciated. So let's hear a native Norwegian say this phrase again.
Jeg vil gjerne ha. Jeg vil gjerne ha.
The 10th essential Norwegian phrase for travelers is Skål, which means cheers. So if you find yourself hanging out with Norwegians in a bar or in a club, knowing how to say cheers is a great way to bond with the locals and build a friendship. So let's hear a native person say this phrase again.
Skål. Skål.
So there we have it, my top 10 essential Norwegian travel phrases that you need to know, plus how to use them. So do you plan to travel to Norway? Learning the local language almost guarantees you have an unforgettable and an authentic experience. Plus, it also gives you a skill for life. Now, there is a misconception that learning a language is difficult, but allow me to let you in on a little secret. It's not. Now, with the right resources, method, and with a bit of patience, you can learn any language and at any age. Now, I started learning my first foreign language as an adult, so I'm proof right there. One of the most common ways travelers prepare linguistically for a trip is by picking up a phrase book. And why wouldn't you? These pocket-sized books are full of travel-specific phrases covering all kinds of scenarios from greetings to pick-up lines, but there's one huge problem. They don't work, and they often end up in your backpack. And now they provide a salad bar approach with no real structure, and a lot of new information is packed into this tiny book, but there is no prioritization. There are sections on everything from greetings, flirting, camping, visiting a doctor, eating out, and so many more. But where do you begin? Now, on top of this, there is no method for actually learning the language. You just have to memorize these phrases. Now, this is near impossible and just plain impractical. And it was this impracticality that was the very reason why I created Intrepid Languages, a series of no-nonsense language courses specifically designed to get you to speak the local language ahead of your trip. Now, there's no rote memorization and no fluff, so you only learn what you need to. So using Pareto's 80-20 rule, you'll learn the most powerful 20% of the vocabulary needed to communicate in 80% of the situations you'll find yourself in whilst traveling. And what does this mean exactly? It means that in as little as 2 weeks, you'll be able to skyrocket your understanding of the language and go from clueless to confident. Now, you have lifetime access to all the training material, so you can either go through all the content at once, or you can slow things down and go at your own pace. It's totally up to you. To find out more about Intrepid Languages and my new course Intrepid Norwegian, just click on the link in the description below. Now, at the start of the video, I mentioned that I've got a special announcement, and that is for a very limited time only. I've also included over $1,000 worth of bonuses, including exclusive interviews and extra language resources just to help you along a bit more. Now, for more details about these bonuses and to enroll in my new course, Intrepid Norwegian, or any other course, just click on the link in the description below. And if you have any questions about the course itself or about these top 10 Norwegian phrases, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and turn on those notifications so you get an alert when I post more videos like these. Until next time, thanks for watching. Vi ses! Ha det bra! Bye!